The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Green Acres and our guests. These general gardening tips and suggestions may work for you, as well as those from alternative sources. When using any garden products or tools, read and follow all label directions. And learn how to make your yard summer strong at bewatersmart.info.
The Green Acres Garden Podcast is the podcast dedicated to helping gardeners hone their growing skills while we celebrate our love of plants. So whether you're new to growing or a seasoned gardener, you're sure to learn something new. Join the fun as we have conversations with world-class growers, passionate green thumbs, and professional garden experts from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Listen every week. We'll answer questions you didn't know you had. And away we grow. Hello there, and welcome one and all to the show. This is the Green Acres Garden Podcast, where we cultivate our love and knowledge of plants. I'm your host, Kevin, the Cultivator Jordan, back in studio for another great episode. Riding shotgun with me is Austin, the ace of audio. How's it going there, Austin?
Hello, I'm on the beep, 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 boop, boop, boop. So I'm getting this audio recorded all good. Yep, click, 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 click.
I promise you, Austin's not AI. He actually really exists.
I'm a real person.
He's a person who actually gardens quite well,
yes.
which we love. And this week, we got a great episode for you. Actually, I was out in my own school garden this week, and it made me think about this week's episode. We have two incredible guests to share with you. But being out in that school garden, we're on the cusp of harvesting tomatoes upon tomatoes, Austin.
Yes.
There were a few little sun golds peeking their little rosy, their little orange cheeks at me.
Nice.
But all the big slicers have yet to be harvested, but hopefully by the time this airs, maybe I will have sliced a few.
We're that ready.
We're close. Peppers, of course, are looking
so
good.
Exciting.
Basil's coming off. I'm making some pesto. I love that. Cucumbers, the melons, everything's on fire right now. I'm just trying to keep up with, everything, the maintenance, the pruning, the harvesting. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. So busy. So as you know, Austin, and you're a former educator, education is key.
Yep.
We love the youth of America. We got to get them gardening and growing one way or another. You know me, I love this stuff. I've been doing it for the last 15 years.
You have.
I'm so focused on getting gardens into as many schools as possible. And this week, we got hooked up with two superstars on the rise, a couple of garden just gurus in the making, Christy and Shelly of Between Two Shrubs. You can follow them on Instagram and all that. They're really open about sharing their journey and out in the garden. Yep. And what they've done with for their school garden that their children attend is nothing short of amazing. And I tip my straw hat to them. What they've done is incredible. I've already been kind of lurking on their Instagram, seeing some of their posts.
Yep.
And what they've done is amazing. I always take a lot of credit for my school. I'm like, our school is the most beautiful school garden in the world. I always try to tell people that. And I really do believe that somewhat. But then I see their photos and I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh.
There's other school gardens out there, and they're absolutely incredible. So I think this is the episode. If you want to, garden with the young folks, or you want to consider, bringing, gardening into your schools where you're at, or your own community. I know you're big into the community garden,
yep.
Austin, and I feel like they're in the same world. Community gardens, school gardens, they have similar aims.
Absolutely. And their space is incredible. Like you said, it is truly beautiful. Check them out on Instagram. And they transformed, what was formerly probably a more typical garden, and they turned it upside down, breathed so much life into it, and it was such a thrill I got to go there today, and then we interviewed them a little bit ago, and I'm getting to know them, and it's so fun. So I'm so excited for our listeners to get to know them now too. We sat down with them at the Green Acres store. They told us the whole story, and they are a kick in the pants. They're just lot of fun. So let's go ahead, check out their interview. This is Christy and Shelly of Between Two Shrubs. Let's get into it. Here we go.
So I'm here with two delightful green thumbs. Please tell us who you are and what we're going to talk about.
Perfect. My name's Shelly.
And I'm Christy.
And we are two garden moms who met in the school garden, and we put together an online presence at Between Two Shrubs, and that documents all of our gardening experiences in the school garden and out. Our kids both have gone to the same school for the past 7 years. And it was 3 years ago that I saw a lady in our school garden, and I yelled over the fence and I said, hey, it would be really great if you added some of those cow panel trellises over there.
She watches too much TikTok.
Yeah.
And she goes, that'd be great if you could do that. And I said, okay. And we'd never met, and that was how we met 3 years ago.
And we live around the corner from each other. We could walk to each other's houses. And we've been inseparable since, and everyone thinks we're twins.
Dang. All right. So friendship blooming in the garden, and this is a school garden that your children were attending, and so your
Still
role
are, too.
and still are, and
Yep.
so you just were like, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do a little bit of work, see what I can do as a parent volunteer.
Yeah, so I actually
awesome.
I took it on to start when my neighbors across the street were moving in, and our garden is in the front of our school that had about 6 feet tall to 10 feet tall weeds. We had 10 beds, 4 by 20 feet long, covered in weeds. And these new neighbors I had were like, where do kids go to school? I said, they go to Brooks. And they're like, oh, I don't know if we're going to go there. It's kind of overrun. And I was like, oh, no way. So I went into the office. I'm like, who's in charge? And they're like, do you want to be? So then I took my kids that summer and just like cleaned it up and all on my own. I'm a dental hygienist by day. And
So pulling weeds is probably like right up there, like satisfies that like
Yes.
target.
Yep, picking that out. Yes. So then I'm very picky, and then I just kind of had it for like 6 or 7 months on my own. It was very hard waiting for a lovely person to help.
Huh.
And then that's kind of how it all started, and went from there. Yeah.
And so that's what we do. And we started documenting what we do in the garden because as we started to do it, we saw a need for things that we felt were missing. We wanted to teach the kids curriculum. We didn't want to just teach them how to paint rocks and how to stamp apples. We actually wanted to teach them about how to run a garden. So we went back to school to become master gardeners through the UC Davis program. And with that,
I'm talking to a couple of master gardeners
yes,
here.
yes,
That's right.
There we
Master
go.
of something.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And,
I like it.
So that's what we wanted to do was be masters in what we were teaching the kids.
Yeah, I will say my inspiration is I went to an event at the Edible Schoolyard in Berkeley. Are you guys
I've been
familiar
there.
with? Okay, yes, Alice
big
Waters.
Alice Waters
Yeah, so
fans.
she actually knows of us and wrote us a card, thank you card, and emails, and that is my one of my lifetime achievements is being in contact with her. The OG of the farm.
I'm on her email list, but I'm pretty sure the one I'm on is a robot.
Same.
Okay.
I'm gonna pretend that I'm on the personal one, but anyway.
No, I got to meet her as well. And,
She's incredible.
yeah,
She's
it was a
incredible.
pretty cool
I mean, and
time.
her whole philosophy of teaching these kids, and especially in that area where kids they may not get good food or ever try a homegrown tomato, or this is an outlet. This is a safe area for them, and that's huge.
Yeah, how essential is the food that we eat?
Oh yeah.
No, it's everything.
Well,
Absolutely.
we started doing, let me backtrack too. I remembered what I was going to say was we wanted to start documenting what we were doing. And so we created our Instagram where we would put things on like what curriculum we're doing, how we make signs, anything we do for the garden so that if there was people that wanted to do something similar, that we could be an outlet for them to be like, hey, we tried this, it worked, and feel free to copy it. So we started documenting what we were doing in the garden. We use a lot of things that Alice Waters uses for the Edible Schoolyard. One of the things that we started doing was pop-ups. Christy actually initiated that, but we do lunch pop-ups where we use things from our school garden to create some type of food for the kids to eat. And it's amazing to see what kids will, number one, eat when their parents aren't there.
Yeah.
And
That's
two,
key.
what kids aren't aware of when it comes to the school garden. We made tomatillo salsa, and so we had tomatillos out with the salsa. No one knew what a tomatillo was. So it's so fun to grow these things, and the kids get to see actually what they're growing, and it's something new that they may not be aware of. So.
I love it. Yeah, it opens up a whole new another world for them.
Yeah,
Oh,
parents
100%.
email us, what was in that? And we did fresh juice, and we did, instead of we do a jogathon, and they were like, we're gonna do popsicles. I'm like, no, we're gonna make smoothies. But they always love popsicles. No, but they love these smoothies. And this is our generation. We need to encourage healthy eating.
Well, we can give
Healthy
them,
lifestyle.
some corn syrup, or you can give them a smoothie with actual food in
Absolutely.
it. And then
Yes.
it's one thing. It's really cool to get kids eating healthy, foods and things that are seasonal. It's super incredible when it's actually food that they've grown themselves.
Yes,
Like
to
how
start to
impactful
finish.
is that?
Yeah.
So from seed or seedling, however you grow, but it's to get it from start to finish, and that's pretty big impact. There's only so much that a worksheet can accomplish.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty cool.
Create stewardship.
What have been some other examples of a lesson that you'd recommend to maybe some other to a listener who's maybe a parent or volunteer or just somebody who actually is already at a school with a garden?
I think the two favorite lessons that the kids enjoy, we created a lesson where we have our whole herb garden at the school. And in order to introduce the kids to those herbs, we created a sheet that has 9 different herbs, and the pictures are listed there. And we laminated it, and the kids get to take it around on a clipboard, and they have to find the herb, and then they have to smell it, and they rate it 1 to 10, whether they like it or they don't like it. And the kids love to go around, and you'll see them finding the fennel, and they'll smell the fennel like, ew, ah. And then they'll find basil, and they love the smell of basil, or pineapple mint. And so they'll rate each one how they like it. And then we come back around and pick who's ever favorites and kind of do a correlation. So that one's always a fun one.
I would say composting. So we actually have legit compost now, which
Speaking my language.
I am so excited. No, we've actually, this is year 3 where we actually have the beautiful fluffy soil, and the kids are actually, so our facilities man, his name's Jim, and he takes care of the school grounds. He actually has taken this on. He does the vermicomposting.
Shout out to Jim.
It's amazing. He's
Earthworm Jim,
been
let's go.
life-changing. Every school needs a gym. Every school needs a gym.
Earthworm
So
Jim.
he takes the kids at lunch with their scraps and cuts it up and drives them in his golf cart over to the composting. They turn it. They actually take it over and turn it into the soil. It's like the nerdiest thing, but I love it.
No, it's great, and that is the magic sauce. I mean, we talk about it each and every week. It's like, what is the correlation? There's so many different things that different plants require, but the one thing is like they require nutrition. And if you're going to be growing, especially a vegetable garden and herbs and anything in ground, it's like if you feed that soil and that soil's rich, it's gonna, you're going to be rewarded.
Yeah, we
with
do
a
soil
hefty
tasting
harvest.
too. That's one of ours where we have them go around each. So we have 15 classes that participate, which is all of our classes at the school. So we have them go around and test the soil, and we see what we're lacking in. Then we talk to them, what can we build? Add nitrogen, or what do we need to add to make this,
Yeah,
make
for
everything
sure.
grow.
Alkaline, acidic, so all the kids learn
pH,
that.
yep. That's great.
So also we're at TK through 5th grade elementary school where our garden is focused. So those are the young ones, and each of those classes gets the same lessons. And what we hope to do with that is those kids are taking away something different from those lessons that the 5th graders will be taking away.
Oh, for sure.
So those TKers that are testing the soil are having fun learning how to test the soil, but the 5th grade, they've learned about acidic and alkaline, and so they are familiar with this. So Christy and my goal is that when these kids graduate 5th grade, that they are experts at what we've taught them through the years, whether it be herbs, soil, composting, vermicomposting.
It takes several seasons.
Pest management, without using pesticides. That's one of our lessons.
So we release Ladybugs for integrated pest management, which is we teach the kids that ladybugs help get rid of the aphids. And so they love releasing the ladybugs, and we teach them how it's getting rid of the aphids.
The whole thing is to giving kids more, people say, oh, they can't do that. They're kids, they're in TK. And give them more credit than they're, it's...
Yes.
Well, they're more, they're like, oh,
they can't do that.
There's so many different benefits to a young person spending time in the garden, to any person really, but to get them in there young and to get them exposed to it early is just awesome.
There was a famous early childhood educator. She was an educator here in Roseville. Her name was Bev Boss. And she was a pioneer in having kids. Her whole slogan was let them play. And it was about being outside and being able to be climbing trees and be using power tools. And she always used to say, kids are so much more capable than what we give them credit for. And we see that in the garden. We see that kids are able to be out there. They're able
using the shovels,
they're using shovels. They're pruning. They're doing all the things that they should be doing outdoors without restriction. And so that's a big thing for us is
and
to have them
enjoy
feel outside. They love it.
They enjoy it. I think more than people realize as well.
Another thing is connection. My husband's in education, and he was saying is connection is that not every kid's an athlete. So, and it's really a big thing to have a connection to your school.
Absolutely.
It makes you want to go to school. It makes you be excited to go to school. So not everyone plays an instrument. Not everyone's an athlete. So if you have a garden or something,
To do a school garden in any garden, really, it takes a village. And it's not just the parents that help. It's not just the teachers or the people at the local nurseries, but it takes the custodians. It takes the principals. It takes the parents. And it takes everyone to help build these and put a foundation in. And one of the custodians at the middle school, I needed his help today because we need a hose. We needed to water the plants. And he was out there today and he's like, I've just had a really hard couple weeks. And we were just out there in the garden talking and hooking up the hose and doing some manual work. And at the end of it, I gave him a hug and I said, we really appreciate you being here to help. And he said, thank you, because this is a really neat space for me. And so it's not just the kids in school gardens, but it's also the people helping. We found Jim that way. Earthworm Jim was a big help to us, but And it's
we lit a spark. He told us we lit a spark. He's been doing in the district for 20 years, and we lit a spark in him, and I love that. I think
That's great.
we wanted to create a garden that was sustainable. And that's Alice Waters' big thing too, is having a sustainability. You know, like we have right now, we have 15 we have 15 classes. We have about 31 garden docents that are parent volunteers that take the kids in. We've created the whole lesson for the year, gave them a list of everything they're going to do. I email at the beginning of the month. This is where this is located. This is what you're going to do. So we have systems in place, and that's our big thing. We've met with a lot of schools have reached out to us. They don't have systems in place.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have a first grade garden. We're going to change the lesson for third grade. That doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's really not. You know, that's how you get these overgrown, and you get everyone's gung-ho all in the beginning, and then it's not.
And they give up.
Then they give up because it's so overwhelming. But if you have systems in place, that's what we're hoping to leave a sustainable garden with systems in place.
and help other people and show them that it's doable.
Yeah.
It's not scary. And a school garden can be one 4x4 planting bed. That can be a school garden.
Yeah.
Or you can have 8 4x20. Or a school garden is what you make it. And I think we have a lot of goals. One of them is help other people get school gardens.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
we want to be a
in,
great resource for
yeah,
that.
we live in a community where it's huge. You know, all the way to Sacramento, Elk Grove, San Juan, wherever it may be. Our goal would be to help people do that. And if it's getting parents excited about just a 4x4 planting bed and let's get some things growing there, or, you know, wherever it may be, just do it. I think just doing it and just starting it. I think if you think about it too much, you'll freak yourself out and not do it.
You got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. And a lot of people are nervous. I think a lot of people, would you agree that a lot of people, I think,
It's intimidating.
It's intimidating, and they look at us. They're like, "Well, I don't garden like you do, or my plants don't look as nice." And it's like, just do it. Just plant some plants.
Nobody's good at gardening until they are.
Yes, 100%.
That's true.
We should make T-shirts that say that.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd wear it.
Yeah.
So are you guys, what's your Instagram handle?
Between Two Shrubs.
Between Two Shrubs, TWO.
All right, is that how the good people can find you?
Yes, it's the best way to find us. We're documenting what we're doing.
We got cool videos and tips. Green Acres is on there a lot.
There
Yes.
we go. And so can folks reach out and
Yeah.
DM you and ask for tips and ideas? And because I'm sure there's a lot, you're not the only people out there who are passionate about plants, who want to get young people, in this case, your own kids involved in it. And I think what's kind of cool is the halo effect is that it's not just your own children who are benefiting, but their classmates, the school in general. So hopefully you guys can leave behind a pretty sweet legacy and that program can continue, because I thoroughly believe in what you're doing, and I think it's we need more of it.
Thank you. Yeah, and people please reach out. I mean, that's what we're here for. We wish that there was something like that when we started, and if we can help anybody get started or help with lessons or anything like that, the best way to find us is on Between Two Shrubs, and send us a message and we can connect that way.
So you've been trying to spread the good word of the work you're doing there. So what have your appearances been like on other media, sites, other sources and platforms, and what do you hope that kind of blossoms into?
Yeah.
We've been on Good Day Sacramento twice, and we've been in a couple of our local style magazines and had full-blown articles. And then I don't know if he saw that we were in this nationwide magazine, which was
In Her Garden,
which you can buy at Michael's or Barnes and Nobles, which we were really thrilled about that.
The spring 2025 edition of In Her Garden, page 86.
And that's the response if anybody asks where you're at.
Yes.
They just go, "Oh, she's in her garden."
She's in her garden.
Chrissy mentioned we've been on Good Day Sacramento. They came out to our school garden, and Chrissy and I thought it was going to be us giving a tour of the school garden. So we got dressed up and
we're
washed
ready.
our hair, and we're ready to go. And she nicely said, "Well, we'd actually like the kids to do the show." And we said, "That makes sense. Okay, yeah, let's get the kids and have them tour them." And so it was, here they go. Let's see what they've got. And I will say that our kids rocked it. They went out there and they told them about eggplant and bok choy.
Composting, from start to finish. We were sat back oh my gosh, this works. What we have works.
And those kids probably felt like $1 million,
Yep.
and they'll remember that day for the rest of their lives. And who knows?
And they were experts.
Yes.
And so it was a very rewarding experience to see them
That's what fired
Right.
us, I think, to like get us to keep going. Like this is really
having
working. This is happening. Yeah.
substantial impact.
Yes.
So you asked like the end goal. We manifest a lot, and our visions expand all the time of what is possible or what we want to do or what we have the bandwidth for. And correct me if I'm wrong or jump in on that too. Is we would love to see Between Two Shrubs and this take on, and it's helping other people do gardens, helping schools establish their gardens.
Yeah. And we get our creative outlet out because we're moms, first, but we are very passionate about this. I want this to be a thing, especially in California. You know, I want all schools to have access to this, and I want people to not be overwhelmed by trying to take on a school garden because you can do it. You know,
It's fun.
It's fun. It's amazing. Look, I met my best friend. We're probably going to grow old together.
There we go.
Our husbands are like best buddies now. It's super cool.
Well, Christy, Shelley, I've absolutely loved it. Meeting you was phenomenal. I love the work you're doing. From my perspective, as just somebody who loves plants, obviously, I just love it, what you're doing. But from being a teacher, an educator, and a parent, I think it's just so vital that we get our young people out in the garden growing flowers, fruits, veggies, and herbs and beyond. And the fact that you're doing it as volunteers, just out of your enthusiasm, your love for your offspring, and also just to build community. And in this case, it led to a beautiful friendship. So, man, thank you so much for making time for us. I've learned so much from you.
Thank you for having us. This was super cool.
This is really fun, and we get to meet like-minded individuals.
Absolutely.
There we go.
and-
Well, you're forever a friend of the pod. We'll have to have you back on in the future, and we'll have to hear more about where you end up, where this all goes, because you never know when you plant a seed what can happen.
Oh,
and y'all
totally.
have certainly planted a seed or two.
Yeah, but what is it? Planting a seed is believing in tomorrow. I love that. We have that in our garden.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're back from our interview with the two ferns themselves, Christy and Shelley. Big shout out. Kevin, did you have a blast meeting them or what?
I did, for sure. I felt like I was with some old friends. You know, even though we just met, tons of energy. Actually, after hanging out with them, I felt like I drank a cup of coffee.
There we go.
Because they were so fired up and full of
Yeah.
energy and enthusiasm for what they were doing, and for doing something that's similar to what I would do. It's like I love it, and the fact that they've created something kind of from nothing, just as a little passion project to support their children's learning.
Right.
You got to love that.
I know.
And we need more of this. Like I said, their enthusiasm, their energy, we got to bottle that, because I think we need more people fired up to just be alive, to just use the energy and time that we have right now to create as many beautiful spaces that kind of nourish us, and a school garden nourishes so many different people in a lot of different ways. You hear in their interview, we were talking about not just the students and the effect on the school, but just the volunteers and the people that are on the periphery, the edge, people that are supporting the kids.
Mm-hmm.
It means a lot to them as well. And so it really brings the community together. And so I love the story. I think what they're doing is fantastic, obviously. And I cannot wait to watch to see what they could,
Yeah, I like how they
next.
mentioned they have help from that gentleman, Jim,
Yeah.
who helped. You dubbed him Earthworm Jim. And then I met him today.
What? Did you
And
get his
I
autograph?
I immediately shouted, "Oh, Earthworm Jim, what's up?" And he's like, "What?"
It's weird that the garden and plants just brings out the best in
Yeah.
people usually, and I think he's a
I
pretty,
got
pretty
him
good
to open
example
up
of
the
that.
worm bins and show me some worms. He was having a good time with me. It was fun. So yeah, I was out there this morning visiting the garden and shooting a little video content with them. So I hope everyone goes and checks that out. Check our Facebook group. That's going to be on there, so you can get an idea of what this place looks like. Go to their Instagram, Between Two Shrubs, follow them and check them out, and hit them up. They
Ask them questions.
Yes, they want to connect with people. They want people to visit their garden, so don't be afraid to connect with them. They are ready for it, and they want it. But that makes me think, now that I just brought up our Facebook group, I am just so thrilled that we are having listeners engage with us on there.
It's fun.
I had some conversations with a gentleman the other day about the show. We're getting questions and photos put on there. And Kevin, I wanted to bring one up that just came up and see what your thoughts are on it, because I want to help this person out. Maria's got a little damage on one of her tomatoes.
Okay.
And
Yep,
here's
yep.
the photos. And I just want to see what your thoughts are when you look at that. Can we address this? Can we help Maria out? What do you think?
Certainly. Okay, so I've seen this before. You can see little black dots of frass Frass is
Frass
is a fun way of talking about bug poop.
Okay.
Sometimes you can go out there and you'll see that. Larger frass, usually a larger animal. The caterpillars will have big grenade-shaped frass. These ones are black little dots, and you can actually, at first I thought it was the damage of spider mites. Yeah, because that's what she lists. You say, yeah, I Google image this, and I kind of like compared it. I'm like, ooh, little yellow spotting on the leaf. Not too bad. It's a really young little tomato sapling. But you know what? Look, on a closer inspection, Austin, if you look, you'll see little tunneling inside the leaf where kind of the green of that leaf, the vegetation, that cellulose has all been nibbled away. And so for me, I think on closer inspection, I'm thinking that's a leaf miner ripping its way, the larva nibbling its way through those leaves. What I would do is you can just snip those leaves off, toss them away. Kind of similar approach, even if it was a spider mite. You can remove the damaged material. You can blast off your plant with some water, a jet of water. But then if you really want to, keep on it, you can use insecticidal soap. You can use a neem oil, or you can use something like a spinosad. I like going organic. And even then, even with organic sprays, I only really recommend spraying if you absolutely have to.
Okay.
So it's nice if you can do no spray, but if you need to, then go organic and use as directed, and you'll be fine. Leaf miners, for me, I've seen a little bit on my tomatoes in the past, but it's never become a big issue. Not nearly as bad as like leaf-footed bugs on my tomatoes or things like that, right?
Okay. Also, it looks like that it's ready to go on the ground.
For sure. It's a little seedling, and actually it looked like there was 2 seedlings in a container.
Is
so
there?
I'd recommend
I do see 2
that
stems
she kind of slowly, kind of gently unwinds them, divides them.
I made that mistake.
Gives them their own space, and then plant them deep.
Yes.
Yep. And we got a nice long growing season. I know most people are already looking forward to, harvesting their tomatoes, but if you get some in now, those ones will be looking good when all the other tomatoes are kind of at their wits' end,
Right.
So it's kind of a nice approach.
That's cool. All right. Well, thanks for asking the questions and engaging with us. I want to help more people like this. Give us your questions. Show us your photos, little videos. You can post them in our Facebook group, the Green Acres Garden Podcast Facebook group. There's a link to it in the episode description of every Green Acres Garden Podcast episode. Plus, there's other links in there too for relevant information. So I'll be plugging to Between Two Shrubs in this one. And that's all for this week. Big week, lots of fun. Kevin, go ahead and take us out.
Well, I got to sneak them in before the end of the week. Cosmos and zinnias. Those are my plants of the week this week, friends.
Oh, cool.
They're so beautiful. We planted from seed in the garden, and they did not disappoint. They're already starting to bloom. They're going to be great for cut flowers and bouquets, and of course, bringing in the pollinators. So zinnias and cosmos.
Okay, I actually got to add one more thing then too, because Christy and Shelly hooked me up today with a beautiful bouquet of flowers for my mother.
Oh, that rocks.
It's her birthday. So we hooked her up with some beautiful amaranth and some zinnias.
Isn't that cool?
And just, it's gorgeous. So thank you, Christy, Shelly. All right.
So I guess cosmos, zinnias, and amaranth.
There we go.
The plants of the week. Get out there, garden friends. Garden when you can. Bring a friend with you. And until next time, garden friends, happy gardening to you all. And please, never stop growing. Between Two Shrubs.